Chapter 1. The Shadows. The cold was bone-chilling, the kind that seeps into your bones and lingers there like a cancer. I trudged through the snow, my breaths coming in ragged gasps as I fought against the biting wind. The expedition had started out with such promise. We had set out to uncover the mysteries of the frozen continent, to unlock the secrets of a land that had remained hidden for so long. But then, disaster had struck. A storm had rolled in, fierce and unrelenting, and we had been separated from the others. We had lost our supplies, our radios, and worst of all, our hope. As I walked, the snow grew deeper and the wind grew stronger. And then, in the distance, I saw them, the mysterious shadow people. At first, I instinctively thought that they were just figments of my imagination, a trick of the mind brought on by the cold and the isolation. But as I drew closer, their forms became more defined, their outlines sharper against the endless white. They stood in the distance, like watchers from another world, their dark forms pulsing with an eerie energy. And as I drew closer, I felt a sense of dread and awe wash over me, like a wave crashing against the shore. It was as if they were waiting for me, these shadow people, watching my every move with a keen, almost hungry interest. And as I drew closer, their forms seemed to shift and writhe, like the tides of an ocean made of darkness, despair, and fear. I knew that I should turn back, that I should run as fast as I could in the opposite direction, but something inside me urged me on, deeper into the heart of the shadows, towards a truth that I could not yet comprehend. And so, I walked on, my eyes fixed on the distant figures, their dark forms growing ever more defined as I drew closer. It was as if I was being drawn towards them, like a moth to a flame, unable to resist the pull of their mysterious energy. As I approached, the shadows grew more intense, their forms twisting and turning like an ever-shifting dance. And then, without warning, they began to move towards me, their dark forms closing in like a net of unknown fears. I felt a sense of panic rise up within me, like a noose tightening around my neck. But still, I could not turn back. Something inside me urged me on deeper into the heart of the darkness. And then, all at once, the shadows dissipated, their forms breaking apart and scattering like dust in the wind. I stood there, alone in the frozen wasteland, surrounded by nothing but the endless white. But as I looked out at the expanse of snow and ice, I knew that the shadows were still there, watching me from the distance, their dark forms pulsing with a mysterious energy. And I knew that I could never forget the strange pull that they had on my soul. Chapter 2. The Cave. For days, I wandered through the frozen wasteland, my mind consumed by thoughts of the shadow people. Who were they? What did they want? And most importantly, what secrets did they hold? I knew that I had to find answers, that I had to uncover the truth that lay at the heart of the shadows. And so I pushed on deeper into the frozen wilderness, towards a destination that I could not yet comprehend. As I walked, I felt a sense of unease wash over me, like a storm cloud gathering on the horizon. I could feel the presence of the shadows all around me, their dark forms pulsing with an energy that I could not yet understand. And then, as I climbed a steep slope, I saw it, a cave hidden deep within the heart of the mountains, its dark mouth gaping open like a wound in the earth. I knew, somehow, that this was where I had to go, that the answers I sought lay within the shadowed depths of the cave. And so, without hesitation, I stepped inside, my heart pounding in my chest as I walked deeper into the darkness. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and ancient stone, and I could feel the weight of centuries pressing down on me like a physical force. They stood in a circle, their forms twisted and distorted like the shadows of a flame, and as I drew closer, I could feel their eyes upon me, watching my every move with an intense, almost hypnotic interest. I knew that I had to be careful, that I had to tread lightly in this strange, shadowed realm, and yet something inside me urged me forward, deeper into the heart of the circle. And then, all at once, they began to speak, their voices a chorus of whispers that echoed through the cavern like the sigh of the wind. And as I listened, I felt a sense of wonder and awe wash over me, like a wave crashing against the shore. I knew that I was in the presence of something ancient and powerful, something that held the key to the very secrets of the universe. I stood there, alone in the cavern, surrounded by nothing but darkness and silence. And yet, I knew that I had found what I had been searching for. The secrets of the shadows, the mysteries of the universe, all laid bare before me. For I had found something far greater than myself, something that had been waiting for me all along, deep within the heart of the frozen wasteland. And then, all at once, the shadows once again began to fade, their forms breaking apart and scattering like dust in the strong wind which penetrated the inside of the cave. Chapter 3: The Truth. The fire flickered and danced, casting eerie shadows on the walls of my makeshift shelter. The lantern had almost burned out, leaving me in near darkness. I shivered in my thin, threadbare clothes, feeling the cold grip of death upon me. As I struggled to move, I felt a sudden jolt of pain in my chest. My heart was pounding like a drum, threatening to burst out of my chest. It was as if the very fabric of reality was tearing apart, and I was caught in the middle of the chaos. And then, in the flickering light of the lantern, I saw them once again, the shadow people, looming in the distance, watching me with silent, empty eyes. Were they real, or were they just a figment of my imagination? I couldn't tell anymore. The lines between reality and illusion had blurred, and I was lost in a maelstrom of uncertainty. I've had seen things that no human should ever see, and the weight of that knowledge which was revealed to me in the shadows of the cave was crushing me. The universe was a vast, unknowable place, and death was its eternal companion. As I lay there, staring into the void, I realized that the shadow people were something far more ancient and terrible, something that had existed long before humanity. They were the harbingers of death, the gatekeepers of the afterlife, and I had glimpsed their realm. But what did it all mean? Was I meant to join them in the shadow world, or was there a way back to the land of the living? I struggled to my feet, my limbs numb and uncooperative. I stumbled towards the entrance of my shelter and looked out at the desolate landscape. The shadows were closer now, their dark silhouettes towering over me like grim specters. I could feel their cold breath on my skin, like a whisper from the void. And then, something shifted. The shadows began to move, to take on shape and form. I watched in horror as they transformed, their empty eyes now filled with recognition. It was then that I realized the truth. The shadow people were not ancient gatekeepers or harbingers of death. They were my own dead colleagues, come to claim me as one of their own. I fell to my knees, feeling a deep sense of sorrow and loss. I had failed them, and now I was to join them in the shadow world, forever lost to the living. But just as I surrendered to the darkness, a flicker of light appeared in the distance. It was the rescue team, come to save me from the brink of death. The light was like a beacon in the darkness, a ray of hope in a sea of despair. It was the promise of life, of warmth, of safety. As the rescue team approached, I felt a sudden surge of energy. It was as if the universe was pushing me towards them, willing me to cling to life just a little longer. Death was not the end, but merely a transformation. The shadow people were not my enemies, but my guides, showing me the way to a new understanding of the mysteries of life and death. And as I drifted in and out of consciousness, I knew that I was on the brink of a revelation. The veil of death was lifting, and the secrets of the universe were revealing themselves to me. I was no longer lost in the darkness, but part of a greater cosmic dance. But my mind was no longer the same. The revelations of life and death and the universe had forever changed my perception of reality. I felt as though I was caught in a dream, where nothing was quite as it seemed. The world around me had taken on a strange and surreal quality, as if I was seeing it through a veil of fog. The rescue team spoke to me in reassuring tones, telling me that I was safe now, that I was going to be all right, but their words seemed to fall on deaf ears. I was lost in my own thoughts, trying to make sense of everything that had happened. The shadow people, their revelations, they key to the wisdom of the universe. It was all too much to comprehend. I stumbled out of the sled, feeling unsteady on my feet. The rescue team helped me inside the ship, where I collapsed, my mind racing with thoughts and questions. I knew that I could never go back to the way things were before. My mind had been forever corrupted by what I had seen, by what I had experienced. I visited a strange and mysterious place, full of wonder and terror, where death was not an end, but a transformation, a door, a gateway to something beyond our understanding. I felt that my eyes are closing, trying to quiet my racing thoughts. But even then, I could see them, their empty eyes, watching me from the corners of my mind. I knew that, from this moment, they would always be with me, guiding me towards a new understanding of the gate and the key